Masa, thank you. It's a pleasure to see you.
Yes.
It's been a long time. You
Yes.
look well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I did a lot of reading, as you might expect, of many of the stories about you and SoftBank of late and the Vision Fund. Somebody was quoted as saying, "There is no one on the planet in a better position to influence the next wave of technology than you." Not Bezos, not Musk, but you, in part because of the risk you're willing to take, the money you have at your disposal, and a lot of other things. Do you agree with that?
No, I'm just a still small startup.
With over $100 billion at your disposal, you're not a small startup. You don't think that you have an ability to influence significantly sort of where technology is going?
No, I'm excited to be part of it. Things are happening without me, but still, I would like to support entrepreneurs who has dreams and passion. Technology is evolving very quickly, so if I can be a good facilitator or supporter, I would be very excited to do so.
You know, when you talk about technology evolving quickly, you've been at this for some time, since the early 1980s.
Yeah.
Give me a sense as to how much or more quickly things were evolving than they had 10, 15, 20 years ago.
You know, last 30 years, three things matter in our industry: the computing CPU power, the size of memory, and communication speed. Those three things has improved a million times each of them. So it's a huge impact in technology and lifestyle of the society. But I say from here on, what would be the speed of improvements? Another million times. Another million times in computing power, another million times in size of memory and communication speed. So it's not slowing down at all. I think the power of computing would make artificial intelligence really come to truth, and many of the forecasting, prediction, manipulation of robotics with smart intelligence, all those things are coming.
Right, and that's been a focus of yours, I know, in terms of where you're investing. I think you've said AI will be the biggest revolution in human history.
Yes.
Bigger than anything we've seen?
Much, much bigger.
And why?
Because, you know, on the earth, there are many living beings, but mankind had been the best, most smart and powerful, effect everything on the earth, with the premise that mankind had the smartest intelligence. But finally, mankind has invented by ourselves something could be smarter than ourselves in many aspects. And so, you know, mankind invented tools. The tools made cultivation for the farming and so on. But there was a premise that mankind's brain is always smarter than the tools that we control. That's why we were controlling them. Finally, the tool may be becoming smarter than ourselves. So that means whatever we have been using tool for industrial society, big paradigm shift is happening. And everything should be redefined. The way we have been using the tools, the way we have been living, productivities, all those things, every industry will be redefined.
So we're in the early stages still of that.
Beginning, just the beginning.
But we're moving more quickly than we had. And to
Yes.
your point about
Yes.
1,000,000 times,
Yes.
so if AI is going to become 1,000,000 times more powerful than it is right now, I can only, well, it's hard to imagine. How do you see, or what do you see when you look forward 20 or 30 years? I know you have a 300-year vision, but even just 20 or 30 years from now when it comes to this view you have.
Well, within 30 years, definitely, things will be flying. Things will be running much faster without accident. We would be living much longer much healthier. So the disease that we could not solve in the past would be cured.
And that would be thanks to AI?
Yes, of course, definitely. So the disease, there are many diseases like cancer and so on, which we could not help millions of people's life. The cancer would no longer become the disease that we should be afraid of because of the artificial intelligence. It will solve the issues that we could not solve.
You believe that?
I believe
And
totally.
do you believe that's within our lifetimes?
Yes, yes, definitely. I don't know whose lifetime, but in the next 30 years, I definitely think that that is happening. We have the mobility with automobiles and so on, but there were lots of accidents. Millions of people die because of the accident. That would no longer be the case. Autonomous driving, autonomous flying, distribution of goods and food, all those things. Today we are driving ourselves. That would no longer be the case. So that AI would make the transportation to cause zero accident at the end.
All right, but so this world that you think a great deal about, where people are no longer getting sick and they're no longer dying in car accidents, so they're conceivably living far longer. But what are they doing all day? What is work going to be in this world if the machines are smarter than the people?
There will be always a new job, new excitement. People can still come up. People would be having, art, music, entertainment, creative jobs, talking like we are doing right now, communicating among the people. We're helping each other. We discuss each other. We get curation by other people saying, hey, this is nice food to have. Let's go eat, All those things would be exciting, more human-like job that will always come up.
You believe that?
I totally believe.
Because you know, of course, that there's a debate about AI.
I know.
I mean, Elon Musk, for example, is very concerned that it will be used not for good, but for perhaps evil, or that we'll get to a point where the machines control us, our robot overlords. You don't think that?
I'm optimistic, okay? There will always be an issue. There always have been an issue, but mankind is smart enough. We always try to adapt to the new situation. Only 100 years ago, just 100 years ago, the occupation, the job, 90% of the workers' job was farming. And today in advanced countries like US, Japan, it's only 5%. Only 5% of the people's job is farming today. But just 100 years ago, 90% of the job of the human was farming. And even as of today, I was amazed. Just last year I was chatting with the Indian people. And in India, as of today, still 90% of the job of the people are workers, the farmers. So today, 90% of the job in some country is still farmer. 100 years ago, 90% of job in US, Japan, some of the countries in Europe were still farmers. 90% now became 5%. But when it became 5%, what happened to the job? People still have many other exciting jobs, creative jobs. So I think there would be always...
You do?
Yes.
But the world you're describing is one in which, as you said earlier, the human brain was still superior. The world that you're seeing in the not-too-distant future, that will no longer be the case. So how can we know?
Well, we can still, create things we can still enjoy, we can still try to sell something, try to design something, try to communicate with other people. Just a sweating job, that people did not that much enjoy. But we had to do it just to live, just to earn the income to eat food and live in the house and wear the clothes. We had to have some income just to live. And for that purpose, many of the people were doing the sweating job, not necessarily enjoying it. They had to work to live. And those had to work to live would be, many of them would be replaced by more efficient solution, which is a smart robot with intelligence. Okay, so that we can shift to more, exciting things. In Roman Empire, Roman citizens, they were so rich that they didn't have to do primitive jobs because they had servants, they had many other people to support the Roman citizens. What did the Roman citizens do? Did the Roman citizens become all sad? They lost job and they lost things, and did they have a sad life? No, they enjoyed because they got the free wine, free bread, and free entertainment in Colosseum, and free music, and free bath, water. So the society became so rich that they provide those basic income things that they needed. And what did they do? They still discuss, they still debate, they talk about politics, they do the education, entertainment, they talk about what next, a new frontier that they should go after. So they were still enjoying, they were still excited, and they were still increasing their success.
So when AI is ascendant and its intelligence exceeds our own, and robots are all over the place, you and I are going to be relaxing and having a good time.
Good time, great time, and still discussing many things.
We will.
Yes, and
hopefully doing an interview still. Who knows?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Okay, and these are important jobs that you are doing.
Do you think we'll ever merge with machines?
Merge
the
with
singularity, the idea that
Yes.
you sort of will become.
Yes.
We'll kind of. Our consciousness will merge with a robot in a sense, and AI will almost sort of be part of our brain?
Definitely, I think so.
You do?
I think so. So even today, we don't have to memorize so many things because you can Google it. So it is like a part of extension of your brain, so that we don't have to do some primitive stuff. We can use our brain for more thinking, more thinking, creative things. Even part of use of the brain is no longer memorizing, what number of the year, what has happened, where is, what is the shape and the look of this plant, roots, because we can very quickly Google it, right? So, but our brain is still functioning in many ways. Part of the thing, it becomes easier, but the other side of the brain is still being very active on thinking, communicating, and so on. It's the same thing. It's the extension of brain become seamless between the virtual reality and the reality. It's extension of life.
Is that something you would want to do?
Yeah.
You'd be happy to merge with sort of a
yes.
non-human entity?
Yes, I will be happy to have robot companion in the family, that we created Pepper. We can talk to them, we can have fun together.
I want to move on, but this world, do you see people having a uniform income? There's been some discussion about that in this country, that we're going to have to pay people who no longer have the jobs that are taken by AI and robotics?
I think basic income concept could be interesting. So there will be a basic income that people can have to make living. But then on top of that, there would be still be a competition to get more richer life, competition to get more excitement and so on, which will be a driving engine for innovation and evolutions. But simple stuff like creating the meat and creating the vegetables, catching fish, all those simple stuff would be done by smart robots.
By machines.
By machine. Smart robots, okay? They would be helping us so that basic income stuff will be provided, because there will be renewable energy. Cost of electricity become almost nothing, almost as cheap as the air or sunshine.
And hopefully then we've conquered climate change too if we're all renewables, but we're running out of time there.
We should do that. We should definitely do that. Our company is becoming like the second largest or largest renewable energy provider. So I am seeing a decline of cost of electricity dramatically, exponentially, and it will almost become like a cost of water. It will become so accessible when the electricity cost, energy cost becomes so cheap, and that would provide the power to function the smart robots. Then harvesting things would be almost costless. So the food that we have to eat become almost costless, okay? And the houses would become much lower cost, affordable for anyone to have nice living house, very low cost. And those construction again will be done by smart robots, okay? So the basic stuff that we need become so lower cost that anybody on the earth can have basic,
A much better standard of living.
yes, much better standard of living.
For many people.
Yes, for most people.
So this world that you've described and your ideas about how we're going to get there, what of your investments, whether at SoftBank or within the Vision Fund, best encompasses sort of this view? What of the many names and companies that you own a piece of or all of, do you feel sort of best reflects and benefits from the world that you see coming?
No, all of the 70 companies that we have invested in the last year and a half with the Vision Fund, they're all AI centric. Okay, they're all using the power of AI for the evolution, and they're fantastic companies. Uber is having IPO maybe soon, and
I think, right? The summer most likely, it sounds like. Or...
I wouldn't say when, but very soon seems to be. And the Garden Health already had an IPO a few months ago. Many companies going to have IPO in the next 2-3 years.
But what links the companies across the Vision Fund is AI. That they
That's
all
the only
are
one thing.
either developing and or going to benefit from or are pushing
That's the only
frontier.
one thing. That's the only one thing I'm focused now. So we are investing $100 billion just on one thing, AI.
Even though it's across many different industries.
Right,
So
yeah.
maybe autonomous driving.
Yes, and construction with power of AI, hotel with the power of AI, medicals with the power of AI, communication with the power of AI.
How does WeWork fit into that with the power of AI?
Yeah, So many people still think it's just a real estate, one of the sharing office.
Yeah, that
That's
they buy real estate, they lease it out, and that's the.
That's not my view. Okay, my view it's a working community. Okay, so Facebook, when Facebook came, people still did not understand the power of Facebook. People thought it's just a bunch of photo and text introducing people. That's not the case. It is a community. It's a graph. The relationship of friends and families and additional friends that you have never met, okay, become friends through the power of internet. But now, in the office space, there were not that kind of the graph of the workers in the office if you are different company people. Mm-hmm. But now with WeWork, with almost 500,000 members right now, they have the community graph. So if you're a startup company, for example, and have wish to provide a new product, you need the designing of the product, you need the packaging, also packaging need a designing, and you need an accountant when you start shipping product, you need lawyer for patent application, so you need many things. That's outside of your own employees' expertise that you want to get. But throughout WeWork membership, they can help each other. They can come in the same office, share from New York, from Boston, and meet and help each other among WeWork members. And with the power of AI, can recommend, hey, by the way, if you're looking for design of the package, there's another member in the WeWork office next building, and you may want to have a meeting at the next beer party on Friday night. So that kind of recommendation can be done. Like Amazon is giving you recommendation next product to do a shopping with your shopping history. And with your interest, it gives the recommendation with the power of AI. So if the recommendation of the product can be done with the power of AI, the recommendation of meeting the other people within the WeWork membership can be done. So it will be much more productive, much more enjoyable. So even the beer party become more productive and fun.
So it's about the community and the growth of that community.
Yes.
That is going to be the key to their revenue growth, I guess, because they'll somehow participate or take a piece of those transactions, I would assume.
Yes. And while you are increasing productivity and excitement, at the same time, cost of the office expense goes down on the average like 40%. So from CFO point of view and CEO point of view, it's great to have 40% reduction in cost. And at the same time, employees' satisfaction of the workplace increased dramatically, like 30% increase in happiness of working place. It's beauty in both sides.
But right now they're losing money.
Accounting-wise, okay, because they're growing so quickly and they're investing into the capex, right?
Yep.
But it's a recurring revenue. It's an ongoing recurring revenue. It's like a subscription. You know the subscription of magazines or newspaper, and now Netflix. Yes. Netflix is still losing money, but the value of the company is tremendous compared to other media companies.
It is based on the ability to continue to attract subscribers that
yes,
are valued at this point.
Subscriber growing and recurring.
Right.
Right? So the initial investment is just the initial investment. And Facebook was losing money even post-IPO for a while. And once they start making money, it's dramatical because the basic cost of the customer acquisition or innovation is not that growing exponentially. It's almost flat. So initial cost is high and almost flat. But the revenue from the recurring subscription goes exponentially.
Well beyond what it costs to lease all that space for them?
Of course, of
Yeah.
course.
I mean, they're already the largest, I think, tenant in London, New York, and Washington, D.C.
Yes. So we also started WeWork Japan in Japan in just 1 year, already profitable. Already profitable. It's amazing.
Right. Did you want to invest more in WeWork?
Of course, of course.
Were you disappointed you were not able to, or that some of your investors, this has been reported, tried or succeeded perhaps in saying don't invest as much as you want?
Well, you know, I still want to invest more and I want to increase. Some of my investors said, Masa, you get too excited and too much concentration into one company. Don't go too far, too much. But I still, I'm so excited, and if I could increase, I would like to increase.
You would? Even
Yes,
from, I think
of
you're
course.
over $8 billion that you
Yes,
have invested.
yes.
How important is the relationship between, and the conversation that goes on between you and your largest investors in the Vision Fund? PIF in Saudi Arabia, I think it's Abu Dhabi. Do they have influence over you in terms of what you choose or your team chooses to invest in?
Well, basically, we make the investment decision. Okay, we are the 100% of the investment committee members. So we have a contractual rights, and we are exercising that. But of course, they were the believer of my first vision and the dream. We have to respect that. Okay, so we communicate with them quite often. They support us very well. We are very happy and satisfied with the relationship. I would like to honor that. But actual investment decisions and activities with the companies by ourselves.
But in the case of WeWork, and this has been reported, you seem to indicate, they did have a voice in saying, slow down.
To some extent. There is a contractual limit that beyond $3 billion per portfolio company, there is a consent that we have to get.
I see.
Okay?
So
But up to $3 billion, okay, we have 100% right to have sole decision making between our investment committee, which is 100% SoftBank members.
Now, you've spoken about starting another Vision Fund.
Well, it's too early. We still have money, a lot of money.
Yeah, where are you in terms of the investment of the, I think you're at 100 or 98.6 billion. How much has been invested?
We've invested probably $70 billion or so, 65, $70 billion, around that range. But we have the banks who are wishing to support us for extending, leverage, because the value of our asset has grown, and many of them are having IPO with a mature value, so that the banks are willing to support us.
So you'll have conceivably you'll have access to even more capital beyond 100 billion with that kind of financing based on the asset increase.
Yes, exactly.
When do you see being done? I mean, do you have a sense as to when you sort of will have finished investing from whatever capital is available?
Well, we have to see. We have to see how many more exciting opportunity comes at what pace. But whenever the Fund 1 investment is done, there are lots of interest that I am receiving that they would like to invest into our next investments.
You think you could do it again? Raise
course.
another $100 billion fund?
I wouldn't say what is the size, but I'm getting a lot of inbound call that they would like to come into our new investor, into us.
And what about those who say, well, what really you've inflated the value of a lot of companies? That has been one of the key sort of things that's occurred as a result of having this enormous pool of capital. What do you say to those who argue that?
Well, at least our return on investment is very, very good. I'm very excited with the very successful return on investment. So some people may say, well, Masa, you pay too much, but still our company's value is growing very quickly after our investment.
Well, you've already realized some returns. I mean, the NVIDIA trade was a very good one. It was a trade, though, not really an investment. You didn't own it very long.
Right.
Flipkart got sold to Walmart.
Yes. Yes. We have to sell some to harvest when they get matured, but then we reinvest to the new opportunities. That's how any investment company have to function.
And what are you seeing out there? I mean, we're in California now. You're nearby in Woodside. I know you have a lot of companies that come through and present to you. Are you seeing a lot of opportunities right now?
Very, very exciting opportunity. Every day new opportunities are coming to us.
And management teams you feel like could get it done? I mean, what's the most important thing for you when you make a decision about a business? Is it the person running the business, the founder, or is it the business plan itself?
It's a mixture of total, okay? So the business model have to be exciting model, disruptive new models, make people say, wow, that's definitely important. And the total accessible market for that product or service have to be big enough. The track record of growing the customer base, the user base, have to be growing exponentially. We're not investing into the early stage. Vision Fund is investing only our size above $100 million.
So it's typically later stage.
Yes,
given
later
that
stage.
Large.
So most of the venture capitals prepare for us, and they invest ahead of us at the early stage, mid stage. We are focused on later stage, that we are supporter to their growth, right? So at our stage, we already have enough data of the actual the customers increasing, and our business model is getting proved that it is a successful model, and they're growing to absolute number ones. So those are the ones that we are focused to put turbocharge.
Mm-hmm. Around the world, of course. I've asked you
Yes.
about a couple of what are U.S. companies at this point, but in China you've been very active.
Yeah,
DD
China.
and any number of others. You just did a deal this week with Grab, I think it was.
Yes.
I mean, these are enormous numbers you're putting out there.
Yeah, even DD alone, we're investing $1.6 billion or something as the additional investment to our earlier round. So we've put maybe twice, and this is maybe the third round that we are investing, and just for additional, injection of capital ourselves, one ticket is $1.6 billion or something.
But they're consuming a lot of capital, these companies.
Yes.
They're not making money yet. I mean, the ride-hailing industry is not profitable.
No, but they are growing so quickly. So the margin take rate is 20% or more. So it's actually very reasonable, very profitable business. It's just that they are growing so rapidly that initial customer acquisition cost, the creating infrastructure, those are the initial investments. But
Right.
the margin take rate is proven very, very healthy.
On Uber, do you think that the rise of autonomous is going to make the business even more profitable? I'm talking obviously many years from now, but I'm still curious as to your thoughts given our earlier conversation. Does Uber become a more profitable company when it no longer has a driver, even though somebody's going to have to own the car?
Yeah. I definitely think so. As I said, autonomous driving is coming no matter what. Okay, that's a technology. That's a destiny of where technology is going to drive us. When the autonomous driving comes, the cost of providing the service dramatically get more efficient. So it will provide a network of service which people would have much lower cost and no accident, or tremendously reduced accident. I shouldn't say zero accidents for a while, but it will dramatically reduce the rate of accident compared to human driving accident. I think that would be definitely coming very, very soon. And so lower rate of accident and lower cost and more reliable timing of coming and arriving, all those things will be coming. And the network effect that you have a scale of cars so that the cars comes to pick you up as quickly as possible. When you have so many cars in the network, the reaching to yourself becomes quicker. Right? So that kind of network effect is needed. That means you have to have a scale. You have to have a big market share. And that's why we have #1 market share company in every countries around the world.
And do you see yourself wanting to be a long-term shareholder of Uber? I mean, you mentioned an IPO is coming. There will be an opportunity, therefore, to monetize some of your stake in the public markets. Will the Vision Fund do that?
I would like to own as long as possible. Of course, it all depends on the share price. Sometimes share price goes too high too quickly. Then we have to harvest a little bit. But it all depends on the market conditions. But do I believe the company is going to grow exponentially? I definitely believe so.
And you're happy with the management now, I would assume?
I'm very respectful to Dala, who is a new management. He's very, very smart, very well balanced.
What do you mean by well balanced?
No. He can be very offensive to increase the business, and he can also be very cost efficient. The employees morals and so on. So I respect that, but at the same time I also have to mention I respect Travis tremendously. He's one of the best entrepreneur. He's a pioneer. When you have to pioneer a new frontier, you have to have an energy, the passion, and out of the box thinking. He's aggressive. He's one of the best. Okay?
Would you see supporting him in some of his potential new ventures?
I would love to. It's all depends on the price.
Right.
But I tremendously respect him also.
I want to talk a bit about SoftBank itself, which we haven't really gotten to. How much time are you spending running SoftBank versus thinking just about the investments for the Vision Fund or even for SoftBank itself?
Well, so what is SoftBank? Okay. Until just a year and a half ago, I have been a CEO of running operating company. Main operating company was telecom.
Yep.
Okay, mobile telecom company, selling iPhone and Android phones and connecting network, servicing customers. So I was a CEO, direct CEO of operating company. So I spent 97% of my mind and the time into running operation. 3% I kept investing. But now I am opposite. 97% just purely running investments, and 3% taking care of the rest of the operations.
So hardly any. Well, you made the point at your last investor call or video that SoftBank is not as complex as people seem to think or as it might once have been. You kept talking about it.
Yes.
You showed that big board of equations, but then you came back to E equals MC squared.
Yes.
And you also kept talking about 25 minus 4
Yes.
shouldn't equal 9, it should equal 21. Are you frustrated with the way the market has been valuing SoftBank and the underlying assets?
No, I'm not frustrated. people need some time to digest what the true value of SoftBank. I'm not a seller of our share. In fact, we are a buyer of our own share.
You announced a buyback that was well received in the marketplace.
So I'm not frustrated. It's an opportunity for me. I have a big smile when I can buy back shares at the price attractive in my view.
Right. But you also made a point of going through the debt level, because a lot of people look at SoftBank, it seems, and say Masa is the biggest risk taker. He always has been. He almost went belly up in 2000 when the dot-com exploded. And it could happen again because of how much debt you have on your balance sheet. What do you say when you hear that?
Well, I say thank you for worrying about me, worrying about our company. I have a confidence in running in balance. That's why I explained in my last quarterly result announcement. People get confused when we consolidated accounting. The debt of our portfolio family companies is considered as the debt of the parent. It's actually not. Each of the company has independent accounting and independent balance sheet and independent ability to pay back their own debt. And if you are 50% owner or 51% owner of that company, the debt in accounting get consolidated into the parents. But parents' debt, SoftBank Group debt is actually roughly $4 billion. Our asset is $25 billion. So $25 billion asset minus $4 billion debt, that's a healthy situation and lots of excess value that we have.
Right. But you're not frustrated that the market doesn't seem to see that.
I'm smiling.
Yes, you are.
Because I am a buyer. If I'm a buyer, I want to buy cheap. So that's a great news for me.
Were you happy with
I myself is the biggest shareholder of SoftBank.
Of SoftBank, right.
So that I can increase my ownership at the lower price than the actual underlying value. So I'm a happy buyer.
What will you keep doing that? Is there a level at which, when 25 minus 4 no longer equals 9, if it equals 15 or 16, so to speak, when the asset value is more recognized, I guess, by the market, where you wouldn't buy back stock?
No. We already announced our buyback program. We would fulfill our capacity sometime soon, and it's progressing very well. But underlying value of the asset, I still think, is growing very rapidly with the rate of success that we are doing on the Vision Fund. So I'm extremely.
The Vision Fund is what? Is it like a hedge fund, 1 in 20, or is it 1% management fee and 20% of the profits? What's the fee structure?
Yes, something like that.
Similar. Although you have 40% of it, or 40 billion roughly, is paying a 7% preferred return.
Yes.
And the 60 billion in equity, of which you guys, SoftBank itself, contributed, what, 28 billion or something like that?
Yes. So SoftBank Group owns close to 49% and of the equity.
Right.
And the partners and the management own the rest. So we are extremely happy with the structure that we created.
You are? But you have to come up with 7% on 40 billion every year, right?
We are doing much better than 7% in return on investment. So our return on equity is tremendously good, much better than simple teens of the returns.
Of the S&P even. I mean, you've said, I believe, that you've had a 44% IRR since 2000. Is that accurate?
Yeah, something like that, yes.
Do you think you can maintain that kind of rate of return with the Vision Fund?
So far, so good. So far, so good. I'm competing with my own track record. So far, Vision Fund return is within that range.
Why are you so willing to take so much risk, and have been, even though you had what people would describe as a near-death experience, so to speak, 19 years ago?
Because I'm a believer. I am definitely a believer of the technology. Some people don't like technology as an investment thesis. I believe in the technology.
I mean, you've said that you want SoftBank to be the company that makes the most contribution to human evolution.
Yes.
It's a pretty big statement.
Yes.
You believe you can actually fulfill that?
I would like to make it happen.
How?
By empowering the new forces coming, these new young entrepreneurs. In my view, they are Jedi, okay? The young Jedi coming out of school, and they start, learning how to fly, and some of them already jumping to fly. I enjoy having them create, new lifestyle and saving a lot of difficulties that mankind still facing, like incurable disease that people are still dying today, as of today, or accident, still suffering as of today. Our young Jedi will save people from those things, or unnecessarily hard work, sweating work. Those would be, no longer needed. That kind of thing is coming with our family members that's joining into our...
I mean, I like the way you describe the future, although, I mean, you are optimistic,
Yes.
you admit yourself.
Yes.
Before we sort of wrap things up, Masa, back to SoftBank itself, just a couple of questions there. There's been some criticism that you buy things at SoftBank and then transfer them to the Vision Fund at an inflated valuation. How do you respond to people who say that?
That is totally not the case.
Okay.
There is a fact that the group of the companies that we have incubated, because the Vision Fund took some 8 months, 9 months to prepare. During that time, I warehoused and invest out of SoftBank balance sheet, and then transferred when the timing became ready. The group of assets that we transferred, after we transferred, the value appreciation is tremendous. So there may be 1 or 2 assets that we reduce the value of the fair market value of the company, but the vast majority, and as a total package, it is big return on investment. Mm-hmm. And you ask to our investors, they are extremely happy with the return on investment.
Something like ARM, I guess the Vision Fund owns some of it, and SoftBank still owns as well, correct? But you own 100% of it overall.
Yes, yes. SoftBank did 100% acquisition of ARM, right. And our LP partners, investment partners, they strongly insisted that they want to have at least 25%.
Why?
Because they believe that, Masa, you have such a great-looking candy, share us some. And I said, no, this is the asset we bought 100% ourselves. And that was already before Vision Fund. I want to keep it. And they said, no, let us have some. So they said they want to own 50%. I said, no, I cannot do that. So I shared 25% of ARM, and it was a public company.
Right, you paid a 43% premium,
I
believe.
I paid, over 40% premium, which I am very happy that I still was able to acquire at that price. So it's preparing IPO again in maybe next 5 years, within next 5 years.
You take Arm public again.
Yes, yes.
That's the plan.
Yes. By that time, I think the appreciation of value would be very substantial. So if if there was an opportunity that I could get 100% back, I'm a happy buyer.
You love that company.
Yes.
You see, because it fits your vision that everything will have a chip in or chips in it and be interconnected.
Yes.
We haven't even gotten to Sprint. I was thinking then of 5G and Sprint.
Yes.
In the brief time we have, you confident you're going to get approval in the U.S. for the T-Mobile deal?
Oh, it is U.S. government who decide, not me.
No, of course not. I know if you could decide, it would be done. But
Yes.
you've faced it before, and it hasn't succeeded.
So I am hopeful, and I am a believer that it will be approved, and it should be approved, because the merit to American consumers, to the American society is so large that there has been only two giant companies and almost a duopoly, and the other companies were barely making money. So not big enough, good enough threat or competitor to the two big giants, but having the third force, which would be almost as equal rivalry, would make a real match, right? And so that the price competition will emerge. The real price competition would make consumers accessible to much lower cost, much stronger service, 5G.
Right. You think 5G is going to transform a lot of industries?
Dramatically. The average speed to the access, sometimes we all face, sometimes, the windmill spinning.
5 years ago, that's what you and I were talking about.
Yeah. But
no latency anymore, right?
5G will make effectively 100 times the speed and the capacity that we are facing on 4G. Against 4G, it will be up to 100 times more speed. So and capacity. That means we can access a beautiful video or pictures very quickly without waiting. So that's will be, and machine-to-machine communication with IoT would be very fast, seamless, and so all those things, 5G becomes so essential.
Yeah,
to the power of the United States. Okay?
And the world.
Yes, of course. But the U.S. shouldn't be lagged behind 5G network, penetration.
Right. If Sprint is not allowed to merge with T-Mobile, will it still be able to forge its own way, or has it become a lot more difficult?
It's tough. It has been tough. So I think this consolidation, merger would make Sprint a better position and make the U.S. citizens better service access.
You're going to have a very busy summer, conceivably, Masa, between that deal, finding out Uber, if it goes public, any number of other, I guess Slack also is another one in your portfolio that may.
Yes.
You don't lack for having very busy days.
Oh, I'm having fun.
And you want to keep doing this, I
Yes,
assume, for years to come?
Yes, it is excitement. I would love to continue. It's too good to stop.
And within SoftBank itself, just in terms of the leadership,
Yes.
How do you see it? There's been some reporting of clashes of personality between Marcelo and Rajiv. Is that true? And
No.
do you welcome that? Is that a positive thing in some way? Or?
No. They're good guys. They're good friends and good partners. Of course, once in a while there's a difference in opinion about me and them, or between them or other management. But always good to have a little bit of healthy competition or tension, because that way we work harder. You know, it's for any organization, any family members, but they are both very good partners, and you know, happy.
So you're
family.
happy with the team that you have in place right now?
Of course, of course.
And finally, let's end on the greatest investment maybe that was ever made. You know what that is? Alibaba.
Oh yeah. Alibaba, fantastic.
You gonna monetize any more of that?
I'd like to own as long as possible. It's still growing 40% a year in revenue, and the profit will continue to, you know, skyrocket. So
You believe that? You believe the growth potential for Alibaba just continues unabated for years to come?
I am totally a believer.
And Jack's no longer being sort of at the helm. Does that matter? Does Jack Ma's kind of departure, I mean, from the company make a difference?
No, Jack will still remain as the largest individual shareholder. SoftBank still remain the largest company holder, and we are good partner, good friends. Jack still, you know, guide the Daniel and the management, the direction, and Jack has been, you know, tutoring or mentoring the team. So I think that Jack will continue to be important visionary to help management whenever they need advice. He's always be there. But Jack's for a long time he was telling me that, you know, his style is to let the people under them, young people, arise and grow as quickly as possible, so that he would not have to do day to day, and he can still think philosophical, you know, direction.
He was an educator. He
Yes.
kind of likes that idea.
Yes.
The two of you seem to have similar visions,
Yes.
optimistic visions of where
Yes.
the world is going.
Yes.
Don't you? I mean,
Yes.
I would assume you have some interesting conversations.
Yes. He's fantastic guy, fantastic friend, fantastic partner. I see him face to face almost every month, even now.
You do. You see him
Yes,
as much
yes.
as once a month.
Yes, once a month, at least once 2 months. We chat all the time, not just business. We're great friends.
And you can assure me that the AI future you see, Masa, is going to be a good one? We're not going to just become slaves to the robots.
No, good ones.
Well, listen, I appreciate you taking time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.